We're here to talk about Anthem.
Hi everyone.
Yeah, sorry about this.
Happy New Year.
Oh yeah, hang on. No, we've already put an episode up in this year.
We didn't say Happy New Year and we did not record it in the new year. This is the first episode we record in the new year and we are talking about Anthem. This is how we start 2026 with.
Yes, this is how you set up a year to go well. You say goodbye to the shit stuff from the past and you move forward.
That's a positive spin on it.
Yeah.
So you are VoleMaulder from what I know.
I think so, yeah.
You go by that name, you were baptized.
Your information seems to be, your intel seems to be right.
My intel seems to be right, yeah, okay.
And you are space Autarr, and you've come from space, and you didn't go to school, so you don't know how to read and write.
Is this, do we have to say this every year now, in the beginning of the year?
I don't know.
The space Autarr lore. Hey, it's better lore than the game that we're talking about today.
Uh-huh. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, it makes more sense.
Mm-hmm. So why are we doing this? Why are we talking about Anthem?
It was your idea.
Well, my idea was my idea was a joke that was taken way too seriously. And I didn't really appreciate the risk I was putting myself and you and everyone else under when I proposed this. So
You need to watch your words around me, buddy.
uh-huh.
I thought that it would make good and interesting discussions.
Yeah, but I think you perhaps overestimated or underestimated what the game was. I'm not sure. I would guess at this point, most people would know what Anthem is. Do we need to introduce it much?
That's a good question.
In case there's anyone living under a rock, or in case anyone has the bliss of ignorance in this case, Anthem is... I don't even know how to describe this thing. It's a game by BioWare. It's not the BioWare of yore. It's the BioWare of present, sadly. And even though some people would have you think that they've recovered since this malarkey, I don't think they have. And it's where the problems of present BioWare really solidified and changed, I think, the studio forever and the perception around them. And probably is where the death knell started.
Yeah. I mean, you could argue that it started with Andromeda. Mass Effect Andromeda, that is. I have not played Andromeda. You have.
I have, yes.
From your tone, I think it was not a good experience.
No. I think it would be hard to tell where it started because both games started production and development, I suppose, the same year. That was 2012, just after the release of Mass Effect 3.
Yeah.
Actually, if I'm completely honest in what I think here and harsh, I think the problem started with the Citadel DLC for Mass Effect 3. Like, there were other problems with Mass Effect 3 as well that led to issues towards the end of its development and the ending and that stuff. We don't need to go into that. But what do you remember? Let's start with that just to see where we are.
Okay. I played the Citadel once. What I remember is that it was not incomplete. It was not necessarily unfocused. What it was narratively and writing-wise quite different. Not in a good way.
Yeah.
This quippiness and the smarminess that later BioWare games like quite a bit to introduce was present, but not in the extent of what I've seen in the Dragon Age Velgar game now, for example. But I remember that tonally and in general, it did not feel like it was home with Mass Effect 3. It felt...
No, yes, you remember right, but I think you perhaps don't remember how off the tone and how bad the writing was compared to the rest of the game. And people lapped it up at the time. The general consensus about the Citadel DLC is that it's great, right? It's the redemption of Mass Effect 3. It's the fan fiction that people wanted almost out of it.
Erotic fan fiction. Everyone
Well,
wanted to see Garrus and the Shepherd hook
yes,
up.
but it was this thing of we're gonna hang out and have a party and go to adventures and everything's gonna be funny and we're gonna have fun together with my favorite crewmates, which okay, on principle is not necessarily a bad thing, but the way they handle it, the writing has the same problems that the rest of BioWare games following that have.
Well, not Inquisition, right?
Inquisition, I put it in a different category because it was a different team entirely that was doing Dragon Age, and it was already in development. Like Inquisition came out in late 2014, if I'm not mistaken.
It was 2014, yes.
Yeah, so it was already deep in development. Also, it was led by someone with a very concise, I think, a coherent vision about Mass Effect and where it was. No, sorry, Dragon Age and where it was supposed to go, which I think held the game together, like from a direction point of view. Like it had its problems and it was bloated a bit and the gameplay wasn't the greatest. And some areas were, I don't know, it had its problems. We don't need to go into a dissection of Inquisition, but not that kind of problem. Like the tone in Inquisition, I think, was fine.
Yeah, I remember overall that it was good writing-wise. And it had a lot of highlights. Yes,
but you were right. Like the Citadel DLC was a lot of quips, funny and serious. That continued. I think the Marvelization of the writing was in full force in that DLC. Andromeda was developed, I think, if I'm not mistaken, mainly by the team that did that DLC and the Shadow Broker DLC in Mass Effect 2.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, okay. That wasn't that much of an issue, but it was a much shorter and focused thing. Although it already had a little bit of that voyeuristic humor about the characters, where you read their emails and, I don't know, Tali was looking into these types of comics or looking up. It was trying to be humorous in a way that at the time it didn't make anything fall apart. But it seems like that's the direction that they started developing further.
Yeah.
And Andromeda was that problem. Andromeda came out first in 2017, and then Anthem came out in 2019. So I think they were concurrently having these issues. So I don't know which came first, but both, like in terms of what we received first and saw first from them, yeah, we saw Andromeda first. Sure.
Well, we saw Andromeda first, and really Andromeda came first. We will go a little bit into the development troubles of this game, because one thing that we don't want to imply or make anyone think is that we're placing blame in the developers in this case, the people that made the game. Anthem was a failure because of management, and we are basing a lot of what we're going to be talking about in the next few minutes on Jason Schreier's article titled How BioWare's Anthem Went Wrong.
I think this is largely a thing for anyone listening to keep in mind generally. Like, we are not usually ones to blame the workers. Like, these problems generally tend to start from higher up above, from producers, from directors, from leads. It's the leadership that
failed.
It's usually, it is usually a leadership issue. It might be a talent issue in certain terms as well, but like, I don't know, like the actual talent of the writers perhaps, or I don't know what, but they're also directed by someone on how to write, on what to write and what tone to have.
Exactly what you said. Directed. Yeah. I don't think there was direction, and I don't think there was real feedback. I think what this game we got in the end was something purely thought as a product, purely thought how we're going to make FIFA money, like you said. So, to begin with, pre-production started around 5 years before the release date. Actual production started 2 years before its release date. And around that time, in 2017, the game itself had a different title. And the title was Beyond. Beyond, while it's not a great title per se, it made sense based on what the developers themselves were saying. Beyond was supposed to be this idea that you are venturing beyond the walls of the place that you are staying in, the Fort Tarsis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because in this game, like, you are in an alien planet or something else. We're going to talk about the story probably later. You, as a player character, you venture beyond the walls of this fort that keeps humanity safe, basically, with the goal of, assisting humanity's survival. And when you go out there, in theory, you are part of the food chain. You are nothing. It is dangerous and crazy, and the only people that go out there are part of the crew or group, let's say, people that the player character is in.
Which doesn't sound like a bad premise as an idea, right?
No, it's not a bad premise at all. And I think that the game itself does have good, solid ideas, but none of it is developed or allowed to reach its potential.
It also sounds like something that would subvert the whole trend in video games where the player character is all like powerful and heroic to be at the bottom of the food chain here.
Yes, and I would say by that time maybe it was still a novel idea. By now this is not a novel idea because
of course.
Disempowerment kind of fantasies exist out there, especially with the popularity of FromSoft games right now.
True, but this game pre-production started like 2012, so this was 13 years ago, so that's a long time ago.
Yeah, I think that the peak of Dark Souls popularity was not quite with us yet at that time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this idea of disempowerment and making the player character feel weak had not become mainstream, let's say.
Yeah.
But the change in name was only, let's say, the tip of the iceberg. And it did baffle the developers when they announced it, because they announced the title on E3, and a lot of the developers already did not know that the title was changing, and they basically were saying that the new title doesn't make sense. Anthem. Later, retroactively, they did get an explanation about Anthem and the name Anthem, because they pushed a different kind of lore spot in the story about the Anthem of Creation, which we're going to talk about in the story bit. So you can see that there is already like a massive gap in matters of what is the plan, what is the world that we're building, what is the story. There was no goal, there was no real direction, and with just 2 years after that 2017 E3, where the Anthem got announced, and this was 2 years later, I mean, it was already a bit obvious that something was a little bit off if you dug a little bit into this. At the same time, we have EA pushing BioWare towards the use of Frostbite, an engine that was not particularly well fitted for the kind of game that they were trying to make.
Yeah, that's been a problem that has haunted BioWare for a while. It didn't start with Anthem. The mandate and the push from EA for every studio under their publishing house to use Frostbite had started way earlier. Like Dragon Age Inquisition suffered massively during development from this push. That's where they had the first real problems with this engine. But it continued, because it's an engine that was developed mainly for the Battlefield games to be a first-person shooter engine.
And that's the problem also. It's that Dragon Age was made under conditions such as this. Like, we know that there was indecisions and mismanagement. There was a complete lack of vision by the managers themselves and poor communications. There were stress leaves, and there was depression amongst staff. And all of this was a culture that did exist under, according to the article, under Dragon Age Inquisition, the development of it. And the fact that despite this turmoil, let's say, internally, Dragon Age came out and became a success, became a hit at the time.
Yeah, actually, Dragon Age Inquisition is now the most successful BioWare game commercially.
A lot of workers basically blame the success of Dragon's Inquisition for what happened in BioWare later, because it was when the idea of BioWare magic started coming across, which is the idea that the managers push, that despite all the turmoil and the issues that something may have, and the crunch and the depression among staff and everything, whatever they're gonna make is gonna be great. Andromeda proved it wrong, and then Anthem proved it wrong.
I mean, if you wear your employees down and then you start bleeding developers and talent as a result of mismanagement and stress and the toll that this takes on people, like, how many games can they make back to back under those conditions? Eventually, it will start falling apart.
Yeah, and from what I understood, deadlines and demands became tighter and more absurd as it went on. So maybe they could scramble to make Inquisition, but what was required by them from them later on was practically impossible. Well, that was also a game that was coined the title of Project Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
Why Dylan?
Because they had this aspiration that this will be such a cultural milestone that it will be seen as the Bob Dylan of video games.
Fuck you! Yeah, that's great.
It was the Bob Dylan of video games, and also, what if it made FIFA money, but it was BioWare?
And the FIFA money ties into the switch that basically they wanted to have in the gameplay. As I said before, the idea was that you venture beyond the walls, and the moment you step outside, you are part of the food chain. You're nothing, you're weak. Nah, the managers wanted the looter shooter. They saw Destiny and they wanted that. So 2 years, maybe less before release, let's completely change the direction that we have.
That sounds like a good idea.
While at the same time, as I said, poor communication and not communicating between the two offices, basically, that they had between Edmonton and Austin, where the management of one and the other made them basically resent each other. So morale was extremely low in that as well. And this switch, the constant, like, for example, like with the fucking title, with the change in the gameplay, this indecision, with Frostbite being a problematic tool, with production starting so late, and the deadlines being so rushed, we have what we have.
Yeah, and also, we should mention here that they were asking at that point a team that has traditionally made single-player RPGs to pivot within less than 2 years and make a looter shooter, an MMO, basically.
So the game was launched in February 2019 with a Metacritic score of 55, which is very low for Metacritic. Metacritic tends to be very high in most of the time.
Yeah, generally speaking, and this is like a completely different tangent, but I think the whole scale of marking video games is kind of meaningless. That's why I prefer the 5-star instead of the 10, because usually good games are 9-10s. Games that are mediocre to decent are 7 to 8, and then anything below 7 is considered really bad. So for something to get 55,
it's really bad.
Yeah.
A few months later, after the release, the roadmap that they had was completely and quietly cancelled. Basically, they just stopped talking about it magically. And in mid-2025, they announced that the servers will be shutting down in January 12th. Yeah, 12th. And that brings us to Vol one afternoon being like, hey, why don't we play Anthem on live right before it shuts down? And I'm smart, so I said yes.
Wouldn't that be a dumb thing to do? And Space Otter goes, "That's really dumb. I'm up for it."
Yeah. So we both got a physical copy of Anthem for like what, £3, £2, whatever.
I think it was £2 something, yeah.
I got it for I think £2 something, yeah. And we streamed the whole thing live.
Yeah, which was not what we intended to do, by the way. The idea was let's just play it once now, and then play it on the day that they're shutting down the servers as a joke. But then I think we played a little bit, and then you're like, let's do another one. And then I had a look at the how long to beat, which said it was what, like about 15 hours or something?
Yeah, like 16 hours or so.
And I'm like, could we do the whole thing? And you're like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. And then we hit a fucking wall at some point.
Yeah, you got very frustrated with it. My standards had dropped super low for this one. I had no expectation, so I expected shit like this. And we entered the point that it was like an endless open world grind.
Yeah.
Which lasted 2 streams.
I had played the beta of this.
Yeah.
So I knew what to expect. I knew how bad it was. I knew there was not much in the game, and the loop was very aimless and very loose, and there was really not much story, and it was really obnoxious and annoying to play. It wasn't just bad and boring, and we'll get to this.
Yeah.
So that's why my idea was, let's just do one just to set it up, and we know how to play it, and then just do on the day as a joke. And we had a couple of viewers going, who had no idea about Anthem, by the way, going, this might be good. Like, give it a proper chance. And oh boy, that was wrong.
I think according to one of them, this was our best playthrough.
They did find it amusing.
Or the most entertaining, yeah.
Entertaining, yeah.
Yeah. But
it was entertaining for a little bit. That particular person only joined a couple of streams. There were a couple other viewers that were watching, tried to watch the whole thing, but there were so many long sections of us being kind of lost, trying to figure out how to get from one place to another, because the map was built in such a way to make it as complicated as possible to get from one end to the other, because the actual map is really small. So they tried to make it seem bigger by placing obstacles everywhere and having it go around things all the time.
Yeah, so we're talking like underground, like tunnels or underwater caves, high mountains, walls or whatever.
And taking you from one end of the map to the other, and you have to go around through everything to get to the other side, yeah.
So I think from the second stream, we started suffering, like proper suffering. You were complaining a lot, and I was annoyed. Like, it was just a fucking mess. And as I said, my lowlight of the last year, gaming-wise, because there are other more important things.
It was painful. Like I felt relief when we were coming up to the end.
Yeah, and we came to the end, and it did not feel like an ending. Because it wasn't. It was planned to continue with DLC, and it was planned to like leave the story open for people to still keep fucking writing on top of it and expanding it because money. But it died.
It was
died,
trying to be
yeah.
Destiny, or Diablo or whatever, anything that has like seasons and expansions upon expansions upon expansions.
Cool. So
I think there's not much point going into a lot of detail about the game. We've already talked about the problems we've had in previous episodes, but we should talk about it a little bit, so this is self-contained, like running the risk of laboring our points a little bit. We'll try to be a bit more concise here. We've talked about previously how there's barely any story, and looking at the development history of this game, that makes sense. Like, they pivoted to something completely different towards the end of it.
I do want to attempt to summarize the story. I have not checked up anything, and I would only talk from...
Go ahead. This is gonna be funny. Yeah, this is gonna be amusing.
Okay. So There is a world, and it's called Anthem World, and at some point,
Did the world have a name? It must have had a name, right?
I don't know, Pandora, whatever. I don't remember.
You should say that most of it was in codex entries.
Oh no, it was in codex entries, and as you are fighting with a lot of fucking noise around you, quips over the fucking comm on your ear. So you get pew pew pew, and people like throwing lore and quips to each other at the same time, which was the most annoying, loud, non-stop. And like it was impossible to follow. Impossible.
Because it's through your ear, it sounds like distorted and low quality because you're getting it through over radio comms. So it's a lot of back and forth, non-stop.
Seriously non-stop. If they would not shut up.
And this non-stop quipping and the way they presented it makes even less sense when you consider this is meant to be an MMO where multiple people are playing in a party chat and are supposed to communicate with each other, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, this is the most messy thing you can imagine in a video game.
So, this world, it went through a big change because of the Anthem of Creation, which was done by some fucker in the past. And in current times, we are a freelancer that stay in Fort Tarsis, and a freelancer is the people that venture beyond the walls of Fort Tarsis to do missions and rescue people, and they're basically the heroes. And you go out, and you have a friend that's called Haluk, and he has a cane, and you have the cipher of Haluk, which name is Faye, and she has a weird headpiece, and she's like almost like a side driver. Like from in a racing game, like the kind of like it's in your ear thing. Like they also have
your like handler or something. Like
this. They also have like psychic powers, but I don't know exactly how or whatever. Like it's never explained properly outside of codexes, and I will not read the codex. Thank you. And you venture out in one of your missions, and you come across the Dominion, and the Dominion is back. And the Dominion is like another bad people faction that want to destroy everything because they want peace, I think. That's what I remember.
You remember way more than me.
And because I'm trying to make this, man, I'm like, so the mission is botched, and then you lose contact with your friend Haluk for a while, and then you're back in Fort Tarsis, and you become a freelance. You start again becoming a freelancer or whatever, and you have a sidekick called Owen who is annoying, and he talks about sandwiches. And then so in the end, what you start doing is you want to go and stop the Heart of Rage, which is whatever the Dominion wants to awaken to destroy everything because they want peace. And to do that, you need did you forget that you ride robots like mechas? Yeah, you ride robots, mechas to go in there. You don't go there with a gun. You fly around in a robot suit.
Mm-hmm. That looks very much like
Iron Man, whatever.
Iron Man,
yeah. It unimaginative design anyway. That's a different thing.
Also, anatomically makes very little sense.
Yeah, you go in it from the back, and you kind of like whatever. It looks like a reverse of how crabs molt.
I don't know how they do that, but okay.
And you need to stop the Dominion by finding a legendary suit of armor, and then you go out to find the suit of armor, but Owen betrays you. Also spoilers, but you don't care. Seriously, like you don't care.
Well, you can't. By the time you listen to this, you won't be able to play this anymore.
So there you go. It doesn't matter. Actually, it's out on shutdown day, so whatever. Owen, the annoying guy, steals the suit because he's been sidelined too much and he doesn't like being sidelined because he's useless, and he leaves. But then later you say that you have to go and find the shield of the armor in order to be able to defeat the Heart of Rage, and Owen kind of helps you, but the armor punished him and he was all fucked up and scorched, and then he disappears from the story for no reason, probably because they wanted to add him in the DLC or something.
I don't know. Like, he appeared back and he was like, I made a mistake or something, but I have to go back and blah blah. It didn't make a lot of sense.
And then he disappears again. So he helps a bit. So Haluk does not die at a mission or whatever, because Haluk felt bad because he has a limp now and he cannot be a freelancer like he was before. But Owen saved him, and then they go to the Heart of Rage with the magical shield that you got, and a thing awakens, and it's big, and you shoot it for 20 minutes, and then it dies, and everything is better, and the Dominion is gone for a while now. And they said, like, they're gone, but maybe they'll return in the future, but for now they're gone, and the game ends.
That final battle seemed incomplete to me, because that thing had a very, very long health bar. We had reduced that health bar by about a third or a half, and then suddenly there was a cutscene and the game ended.
The ending was baffling. We thought that there was gonna be something else. There wasn't.
Yeah, it was like, it just very much like a very, very short cutscene of, oh, we did it, cool, and that's it.
And then you go back to the thing, and they're like, everyone, wee, and it stops, and you're like, what? Is this the end? And of course, it's not the end, because they were planning to do more stuff. But what we already got was something so unfocused and weird, presented in such a bad manner, that it really discourages you from trying to understand it. I cannot. Like, how many scenes can we have of people in room speaking at each other very, very quickly, very quippily, trying to explain to you all the lore while skipping a lot of stuff that they assume you're gonna check the codex afterwards?
There is a very exposition-heavy scene at the very start of the game after you play the intro, where there's again a lot of quipping happening and names and terms thrown at you, and like, what? And then there's a cutscene. If anyone reads the descriptions that Space Autarr writes for these episodes, on the Anthem of Exposition episode we did, there was a, as you know, this and this and this and that. There were 2 paragraphs that you wrote with like random shit. In that one, this is kind of how it happens. About a 2.5 or something like this, maybe it's 5, intro video with a voiceover that sounds like it's from a Saturday morning cartoon, telling you all these things have happened.
And later on, in the like in one of your terrible missions, which is basically go there, shoot thing, get shot back.
Yeah.
Later on, you go through like the tomb of the first freelancer or something, and they try to give you like the lore or the history of it, but all of it is done while it's being told to you in your ear when you're shooting at 1 billion things that are coming towards you.
Yeah.
So it's not an effective way of like, absorbing information. It's just noise. And that was my biggest issue with the whole game. It's the noise. The game did not know when to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it was so noisy, so tiring. I almost had a headache after almost every stream.
I also got sick during one of the streams, and I thought I was like hallucinating or being delirious, but it just ended up being the game itself.
Yeah. So what was the gameplay loop?
So you have your mech suit that upgrade, and it comes in 4 classes. Okay, let me try to remember the classes. There is a wizard, a sniper, I don't remember the names, the interceptor. I think you played the interceptor. I played the...
Yeah, it has more melee.
Yeah,
attacks.
I played the wizard or arcanist, something like that.
Something like that.
Which is like controlling more ice, fire stuff, like elemental damage. A tank, which basically like they can take more damage and everything, but cannot fly as long or whatever. And yeah, the sniper, which is like a long distance, like gun, whatever. Or a soldier. I don't remember exactly. Maybe it was a soldier. It was a very clear 4-team kind of build of like, your classic fantasy games, but with mech suits instead.
Yeah.
So you basically, whenever you activate a mission, you just get thrown on the outside of Fort Tarsis, and you have a generally medium-sized map, I would say, that becomes small as a result of you being able to fly fast everywhere.
Yeah, and that's why they, as we said earlier, there's obstacles everywhere to make you go around things all the time.
So you fly from place to place, collecting stuff and shooting stuff. And that's it.
Yep.
This is the main gameplay loop. And the moment you finish a mission, you get a timer. Now you're thrown back. And you get thrown back to the fort.
And the mission, the goals, the actual quests that you have are mostly grind. Is don't go and kill this many of this enemy, go and collect this many things of this thing that you need to kill enemies and get dropped as random loot. So
yeah, there was the main mission that was basically the grind mission, if you remember.
Yeah.
Where we had to enter 4 tombs of previous freelancers, I think.
Something like that.
Something like that. And each one had its own trial. And each trial was a grind. So, like I don't know, like set 50 enemies on fire, kill 50 frozen enemies,
kill 50 enemies with your special. That was basically it. That was the trial.
Yeah.
Just a bad trophy list.
Yeah, exactly. It was like bad trophies, and that is also when you almost quit.
Yeah.
But I kept pushing you in it.
I was at that point. If we hadn't finished that in the second stream of that, I would have quit.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't gonna do that for a third stream.
There are also some other trials or something, or races or side activities, which is basically just flying around, like with a timer, and they ended up being extremely fucking long. So we did one, and we're like, this is enough. I'm not doing more of this.
Because I thought, hey, I like racing. Maybe this will be the redeeming thing in this video game. But they nerf the flying. As you fly, there's heat that builds up, and you need to cool down.
Yeah.
And the way to cool down is you either dive as you fly, so you need to go really high up and then just go vertically down, or you fly through waterfalls, or just stop flying, basically, or through water. Right. But waterfalls and water are not everywhere. And so you basically start going like up and down, up and down, up and down all the time. But this just slows you down massively.
Yeah, there is no satisfaction in it. And you would think that they would at least like make it so, you get your flying boost somewhere along your route when you're going there. So like you would have like the waterfalls, the underwater like caves or whatever that you would be able to fly through, cool yourself down and continue. But that was not possible. It was not possible to continuously flying. So even the one thing that felt a bit good had to be fucked.
Yes, this is, and I've made these jokes sometimes while we were streaming, that if they wanted to make this like Destiny, it's like they looked at Destiny and they thought, how can we take the Destiny formula and make it the least fun to play?
Yeah.
Because the Destiny, as much as we kind of shit on it, actually feels very good to play. And it has racing stuff as well, and they're fun.
Yeah, Destiny feels like the shooting in it feels good, the gameplay feels good. I personally hate the gameplay loop and the story and everything in it. I don't like it aesthetically either, but it I can recognize it as a game, as a complete game that is out there for people to play and enjoy. This is not complete. And it was never completed as a result because it was abandoned. No. It was abandoned after its terrible reception.
Also, like for all the faults that we may find with Destiny, it was actually successful. Like a lot of people liked it and kept playing it and kept playing it and keep playing it.
And they keep playing it. It's still supported. Then it has a very vanilla, let's say, upgrade system. Like basically, as you level up, you unlock better equipment. And you can assign it on your mech suit. A lot of the items that we were going to be able normally to purchase and equip and everything were no longer available because the currency was dead. And the game is very stingy at giving you this currency to like customize your mech suit. So basically, we had almost no possibility to customize. The only thing we could get was our sigils or whatever they were called, that they were giving you like different powers or whatever. And as you were moving on, you were like just upgrading the level, but they were not changing in matters of abilities. There were like 3 or 4 abilities and you just upgraded the level as you went on.
Yeah, which was happening, as you say, very, very slowly. Because I imagine this was balanced in such a way so that people would be able to play it daily for years without maxing it very quickly, because then they would have less incentive to keep playing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And basically, the last bit of the gameplay, which was as stupid as it gets, were awful dialogue options. Which basically was, are you going to choose the smarmy reply or the more snarky reply?
Yep.
And all the dialogue was long-winded, unfocused, quippy to the point of fucking pain. Owen is the most painful character I have ever come across in a video game.
Also, the way the dialogues are framed from the camera, like people are shoved in your face all the time. It's like they're looking very creepily, very close up. It's like up your nose almost.
Yeah, very close. And because first person in the Fort Tarsis itself, because normally the game is third person, but in Fort Tarsis you're in first person, as a person, as a human being walking around talking to people. And it has like a almost fisheye lens, so everything gets a tiny bit distorted, and every single dialogue scene looks uncomfortable and weird.
Yeah. And then we happened to be playing this through Halloween.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I forgot that. Oh, Jesus.
At some point, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Was this here? Did we miss this? Because they had like bones everywhere.
Yeah.
Like remains of animals or stuff, like thrown about everywhere in the main hub.
And a green mist.
And a green mist over everything. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, yeah. Apparently it was a Halloween event.
It was a Halloween event that was timed in the game itself to happen, but because the roadmap itself got cancelled, it never happened, but the change in the environment in Fort Tarsis remained in the game indefinitely until its death.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what else to add. What else is there?
Nothing really. It's just tragic.
Yeah.
It's just tragic because, like, this is going to be part of BioWare's legacy. And the legacy that BioWare is having now, like, we are old-ish compared to... I don't know what the average age of people playing video games today are. I mean, I imagine
probably 17
to 25 to 35 or something is the biggest cohort. That tends to be it. The BioWare we remember, and the BioWare I remember more than you, actually, is dead. Has been dead for over a decade now.
Yeah.
So we've had Andromeda, we've had Anthem, and then we've had...
Veilguard. At least Veilguard is a game.
Yes, it is. It went through tribulations, and this game also started as something that they wanted to have as an MMO and live service, and then they went back, and then they went back again, and they went back again. So it's a miracle this game came out, and didn't fall apart. Like, technically speaking, it's pretty good, but it's obvious I was saying in the last episode how it has structure and pacing problems. And I think those are because it was built up to be, again, a live service game where you go out and you do missions with a trickle story coming in and then going back to the same areas to do more missions and have seasons. And somehow they managed to disguise it as a single player game a lot better than Anthem.
Yeah.
Well, Anthem, they didn't disguise anything really, but
it to me, it's the lack of focus.
yeah, it's a lack of focus. That's the problem.
The fact that I was in a video game and at no point through the entire playthrough did I know what I was doing and why. It was so hard to keep going back and trying to follow what are the events of what I'm watching.
Like, I don't know why we were doing this. Like, what was the end goal? Like,
the end goal was to stop the Heart of Rage, right?
Yeah, but why? Like, again, the motivations are so... I don't know. I mean, they're probably somewhere in all those texts and in that dialogue, somewhere implied, somewhere. But we're talking about the studio that was known for writing, for great RPG writing.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. The story is extremely vanilla. The gameplay, it's basic. It was not built upon enough. It's shooting, flying. That's it. Creature design was very... Uninspired or derivative, like Ongo Gablogian would say.
Anyway, we're laboring the same points here.
Yeah.
We're stretching this discussion because there was so little in the game to actually talk about, to have anything interesting to say or to discuss or to explore.
Yeah, the entire gameplay is in our channel. The whole story, we have uploaded it as we're playing it together. I don't know of what value it is, but it's game preservation for you. I guess this little mistake, abomination is out there for everyone to enjoy.
Yeah, because like the thing, as much as I am disappointed and hated this game, I am saddened by the fact that it was made in such a way that it will completely disappear. Like, even the bad things that people make have value in terms of like archiving them as part of the history of human creation.
It continues to be something that was made with thousands upon thousands of human hours being thrown at it. Was it without direction? Was it under the worst fucking condition you could imagine, with everyone basically dropping out because of stress or other mental health issues? Was it something that the result to be shit, as we said multiple times until now? Yeah, but people worked on this and you're just deleting it from existence.
Mm-hmm.
And, any art and bad games, the same, need to be preserved. I believe that. I don't think that all the movies that I hate need to be deleted from existence.
No. I'm I believe there's value in archiving and being able to go and examine even the failures. Exactly. Or what we consider failures, even the bad stuff. It's part of our history.
And not only that, all the developers in the future that will try to find reference material, I find it valuable to have something of like what you should not do. Yeah. And Anthem is, surprisingly enough, bottom of the barrel shit.
And it's not as much as we might say that, okay, our gameplay is an attempt perhaps at preserving something out of this game. It's not good enough because it's an interactive medium. Like, a video of someone playing it is not really
it's not the same, no. So, yeah, today was or is the last day of Anthem. If you're hearing this, Anthem is dead officially. It has been killed by mismanagement, not by us, the players, for not playing it. and not by the developers for not trying. That is a result of a capitalist and uninspiringly approach to creating something that should be entertaining, and in the end just falling in your face because you thought that BioWare magic was going to solve this.
Make FIFA money.
Failures in the managerial level are not something that BioWare magic can solve.
BioWare magic should not need to solve anything. That's not how you make anything sustainably. That's how you ruin people's health and reputation of studios. And anyway,
if I am to end it poetically,
okay,
the failure of Anthem and Andromeda left BioWare's reputation blowing in the wind. Fuck you, I made a Bob Dylan reference, Anthem. Did you like that? It was more effort that fucking managers put in it, so whatever.
Yeah.
I hope that the next thing we play together is better. And I hope that we never stoop as low again in our multiplayer co-op campaign things in the future.
If I were to express another hope, is that BioWare at some point might be able to pull themselves back together and recover from all these failures, because even being a husk of what they were, if they close down, it will be I will be sad. This studio's history has been very important to me in my personal development as a video game appreciator,
nerd,
player, and as a human being. And it's sad. It's sad to see them go down like this, honestly.
For a lot of people, they did redeem themselves with Veilguard.
I don't know, actually, if that is true.
You don't know? Based on what I've seen...
It didn't sell well at all.
At all? Okay.
At all. They said that they had 1.5 million engagements or something.
What is an engagement?
That is a term that management uses when they're trying to hide how badly something did. Because this also had demos. It had a trial on EA Play or whatever. So, like, it's part of Game Pass. Like, you can boot it up and play like 2 or 3 hours of the game.
Okay.
It had a free character creator. I don't know what they're counting. And then it went on Plus, not even 6 months after release.
It was a very early release to be on Plus as a AAA quote-unquote game.
The game was down to less than half the price in less than 6 months.
Which showed how it went.
Not even 6 months. I think it was like 3-4 months later I was seeing it half price. I'm like, ooh.
I don't know. I repeating myself here, but I saw people excited when it got announced. I don't know how they felt afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, there were reviews as well saying that this was BioWare's comeback and it was peak BioWare and the best thing that they had made. And I'm like, I don't know what your own made, but like, anyway.
So that's it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Beppis is rubbing his face on the microphone. Okay, there he is. He has awakened.
Beppis has awakened. It's like, finally, they stopped talking about this stupid, boring-ass game.
Okay, now he put his ass on the laptop. Okay, but buddy. Okay. Yeah, we're finishing now. There's nothing else to talk about for Anthem, so we're just saying bye now.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you for listening to this, if you did.
Thank you for listening to this. I hope it was interesting. I hope that it is of value that we actually wasted our lives playing this game and talking about this game and researching the development hell of this game.
There's things to learn here.
There is things to learn. It is tragic for me, all of this. To me, it is tragic when this happens to developers.
Also, I will bring this up as we're ending, just as a more kind of lighter, playful note. But you convinced me to keep playing this game on the promise that we would stream and play Destiny.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about this.
Oh, yes. So that will happen at some point in the future. Just so you know, people listening, and also you, Space Autarr, just to remind you, there's been a commitment. There was a transaction, an agreement.
Ah, fuck. Fuck, I completely forgot about this. I don't want to do this. Just once, though, right? Just once.
No.
What? No. What? No. Oh, you mean you were gonna go through the whole story?
I don't know about that because I don't want to. I don't want to make that commitment and then suffer myself. How many streams did we do for Anthem?
6.
Okay, we do at least that.
Oh, fuck you.
They don't need to be as long. We can get out of this in that way. They can be that close. They can be like an hour and a half long each or something.
Oh, I really don't want to do this.
Or we do enough of a loop, of a gameplay loop. Like, I don't know. I'm saying this, but we may start and then I go 3 hours in, go, fuck this, I don't want to play this ever again. So,
okay. So that's us. Thank you for listening. To those out there that listen to us and support us, we thank you. You know who you are.
We'll be back in 2 weeks now. These episodes have been a week apart because of special circumstances. We wanted to time this with
the death of Anthem.
Yes.
As a game. The Anthem of
Decay.
There you go. And next time we'll talk about something better, which doesn't tell you anything because something better could be terrible or fantastic. It's everything in between. The bar is very low with this one, so there you go. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.